We have a sad story. We have a good story from the coin shop. Yesterday was the good story. I'll let you know that at the back end of the half. We will tell the bad story first. Or the sad story. Very sad story. Let's get into it. Help me out with the thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. We do giveaways. Not gonna give on too much more information. I'm still waiting for the winner to confirm. He's already emailing me from the last giveaway. All I need him to do is put in the passcode. Send me his address in the email. And I'll put his items in a box and ship it to him. That's all I'm waiting for. So let's get into it. Let's get into the sad story. I had an older gentleman come in today. He had to bring his neighbor's son with him. Help him. He had $500 face of 90% silver. Mixed. He had also 500 silver eagles. This past Saturday was his birthday. And his family, his daughter, invited him over, along with the husband. The 3 twin boys were there. They're all 18 years old. Of course. And, you know, they do this every single year, but they only get together once a year, which is very, very sad. Okay? He said the last 2 years, he said, they invited me over. He says, we had lobster, we had steak. The last 2 years, this year was the same thing. And he says, we talked a bit during dinner. At the end of dinner, when the plates got cleaned up, everybody got cleaned up with the dishes and whatnot. They just sat there. Mom and Dad were on their cell phones, doing whatever, texting for their jobs. All 3 boys were texting. And here's the old man sitting there doing nothing. He says, I waited 45 minutes before he lost his cool. They were supposed to have dessert. Carrot cake, I guess it was. He says, the last 3 gosh darn years, you guys done this to me. He says, you guys don't call me. You guys don't come over, make sure I'm all right. You invite me over for my birthday. You forget about Christmas. You forget about New Year's. You invite me over for my birthday. And we eat. And you spend an hour and a half the last 2 years on your gosh darn cell phones. Not saying another damn word to me. I'm going home. He was mad. Teed off. Pissed off. Whatever you want to call it. And he said, he basically told him, he says, if you don't want nothing to do with me, just don't even have me over here no more. He was so mad, my friends. He took the neighbor's kid. About the same age, a little bit younger, 17. Help him lift the monster box of silver eagles in the car. Help him lift the bags of junk silver in the car. 90% silver, Constitution silver, whatever you want to call it. Into the car. Comes and tells us a story. He says, I want to sell it all. And we tried talking him out of it. We really tried. He says, no. He says, the heck with them. He says, I was saving this for them. Everybody was going to get 100 ounces. Mother was going to get 100 ounces of the eagles. Dad was going to get 100 ounces. The 3 boys was going to get, and they each going to have 100 face of 90% silver as well. He said, you know what? I don't want it no more. So if they don't want to treat me right, I'm selling it. So I said, well, I really don't want to take the eagles right now. I said, let me make a phone call or two. I said, let me see if what I can do. I said, I do have plenty of eagles at this time. I said, they're common dates. Nothing too fancy. They were 2011s. So nothing too fancy, all right? Still silver eagles, nothing to cry about there, right? But they were common dates, so there was nothing too exciting with those. And I said, have you been through your 90% silver for key dates? He said, no, I have not. I said, well, all right, let's do this. I says, I said, if you don't mind giving me your phone number. I said, we will go through this stuff for you. Just not 90% server for you. And make sure you have no key dates in here. So this is going to take us a few days, maybe take a week. I said, but we want to make sure you get paid in full. And he says, you're going to do that for me? I said, yeah, we're going to do that for you. I said, we do that for everybody. He started crying. He says, I have no idea what's in there. I said, that's why we're going to go through it. Make sure there's no key dates. Picked up a couple of handfuls, didn't see anything. So, I mean, it don't mean there's not a silver diamond. There's not, I mean, it's all mixed. So we're pretty fast at going through it. We have not found anything yet. The team's not found anything yet. But keep this in mind, my friends. Especially if you're a little bit older and maybe not so technically inclined on electronics. You know, families this day and age don't really talk. It's sad. They're too busy on their phones, too busy on the laptops. He says, they don't invite me over for Christmas. I got a small apartment. I can drive still. I got a little wobbly still, but he said I can still manage to drive. Just got my driver's license again renewed. I passed with flying colors with the eye test and everything. He says I'm stable. He says I've not had too many hiccups in my life. But he says they don't care about me. And it's sad. It's really sad. So I asked him. I said, well, what? I says, well, what are your plans now? I said, you're going to get a good check. He says, well, I don't know yet. He says, maybe I'll go to Vegas. Maybe I'll go to overseas and enjoy it. Maybe I'll hop on a couple cruises before I die. He says, the heck with the family. And I said, are you sure? Before we go through with this, I said, are you sure you don't want to take another day or two to think about this? He said, no. He says, I thought about it Saturday night. I thought about it Sunday. Yesterday. He says, they don't care about me. I'm not leaving them a gosh darn thing. I'm going to go spend it on what I want to spend it on. Well, good for him then. Family's lost then. It's sad. So I said, so I asked him again. I said, are you double sure before I hit this print check? And he said, yep. I said, once I hit print check, I said, pretty much the deal's done. I said, it gets locked in. I said, we're going to take everything from you at that point. And with the Silver Eagles, not going to release the total price we paid him out for everything, but he got a very fair price for everything. He had overspot for the Eagles. We got pretty close to a little bit less than melt for the 90, because we do pay back on that, like most shops do. But he got a little bit above spot for the Eagles, and was able to find another coin shop in the area. And I says, you need any silver Eagles? He says, I actually do. He says, I'm looking for a monster box. I says, any particular year? He says, I don't care right now. I said, right now I got a 2011 box in, sitting on, waiting. I says, I want to make $50 off the deal. I said, I want an in and out. And I told him what I was going to pay. I said, I want $50 more. The other coin shop says, give it to me. I'll be right down. So I said, let's go. Okay, fine. I didn't really want to take the monster box. We had 8 monster boxes of Eagles already. We really didn't have the room for it. I didn't want to call up the dealer again and say, I got another box. You want to pick it up for Friday? Sometimes you got to make a little bit less, my friends. A little bit less to move stuff. Help other shops out. Help your dealer out. You're a bullion dealer as a coin shop standard. Doing the right thing for your customers. That's a sad story. Check out channel sponsor Pimbex, my friends. This week, they're offering 10-ounce Canadian Royal Mint bars. That's right, 10-ounce RCM bars. As the recording of this video, a little after this, because I had lawnmowers and weed whackers around me, so I took the price point at $4.25 this afternoon. 2 or more, 2 to 4, they're $412.46. 5 or more, they're $407.96. As you see, today is July 21st, 2025. I took this reading at 4:25 p.m. Keep that in mind. Prices will change due to the market conditions. So when you're seeing this video, you're going to see it well after 4:25 p.m. in the East Coast time. And your 6 o'clock hour market at 6 o'clock might be, you're seeing it afterwards as well. So silver price is on the move, my friends. Keep that in mind. I cannot give you exact price when you're watching the video, of course. Just want to keep that in mind. So thank you, channel sponsor Pimbex, for doing something like this one, because these are getting hard to get, I do believe. RCM bars. Are we going to see the Trump tariffs on the back end of it? I don't know, my friends. I don't know. All right? I don't know. Just keep that in mind. We could start seeing this stuff really going up in price. Keep that in mind. This is not trying to be pump it up or nothing like that. I'm just giving a fair warning. We don't know. Keep that in mind. I want to tell you the other story. What happened at the coin shop? Well, I was actually talking to a customer. And it actually was on a 100-ounce RCM bar. And he lived in another part of state of Florida. He says he's been to the shop a couple times. And he wanted to trade it for 90. See what we can do. I said, yeah. So what we would do is have a buyback price. I says, right now we're buying back. I says, $1.25 less than spot on 100-ounce bars. I said, we will pay you out, and then you can buy the 90, whatever 90 is going at the time. Well, that's not a bad deal. I said, no, but I says, so I found out a little bit more close. I said, you're kind of far away still from me. I says, why don't you try put it on Facebook Marketplace first? I said, and meet somebody, you know, if someone's interested, see if you get any nibbles at it. I said, put it at spot. See if you get any nibbles at it. I said, if you get any nibbles at it, go to a local police station and do the deal right in the parking lot there. At least you're safe. He said, well, actually, my girlfriend works at the police station. I said, perfect. So I found out how old this guy was. He's 33 years old, my friends. He's just starting to get into silver. His girlfriend's a little older. She's 38. She works at the police station. I'm not sure if she's actually an officer or not. All I know is she works at the police station. Okay? And so I asked him, I said, is she into silver? And go, oh, no, not really. And I said, does she know that you have some silver and gold? Does she know the value? Well, kind of. And then the conversation went on, well, should I get this? Should I get that? You know, I said, whatever you're choosing. You're 33. He said, I wish I started sooner. So I said, how did you start stacking silver? He says, well, I came across a YouTube channel, Silver Slater. So I'm going to say who it was. And he said he was really upbeat about silver one day, and he was saying it's going up, 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 up. You need silver for this, that. We know what we need silver for. Hospitals, in equipment. We need silver for solar panels. We need silver for medications, my friends. We need silver for batteries. We need silver for cell phones, electronics, blah. The list goes on and on and on, right? And he sat back and then Silver Slater said, in that particular video, dollar's dying. And he's looking at the information and he's doing his own research. This is why I say you got to do your own research as well. And, you know, for being 33, I told this gentleman, I'm 45. Okay? For being younger and having the, know about what's going on at that young of an age, it's pretty gosh darn good. Don't see too many younger people. I wish there was more younger people stacking silver and gold. It's not how it is. The younger generation wants that fast buck. They want these meme coins. They want this Bitcoin. They want it now. They can't wait 20 years. Where these people going to be when the government takes it away or locks you out? Can't lock me out of my physical silver. Can't lock people out of their physical gold. I said, you know, there are other ways to sell the silver. He said, well, up here they're like paying $3 back a spot for a 100-ounce bar. I said, ouch, that hurts. I said, it's not what you drive. I said, by the time you come down this way from where you're at, I said, you're going to spend that much in gas anyways. I said, so it's not worth your time. I said, what are they selling them for? He said, well, about spot. So I said, well, even if you get $1 behind spot, you're still better doing than I'm paying you. You have a location where you could sell it, put it on Facebook Marketplace, see if you get any nibbles on it, then trade it for 90 if that's what you really want to do. He appreciated it. I was on the phone with him about an hour. That's how you help people, my friend. Sometimes it takes an hour. Sometimes it takes 15 minutes. Sometimes it takes a couple of hours. It don't matter to us. Educate yourselves for one. Learn. You're never too old to learn. You're never too young to learn something new. You're never too old to learn how to use electronic devices. We got to keep learning. The world is changing. But I'll tell you one thing's not changing. Silver and gold will always be worth something. May not be worth in dollars. Maybe into a digital dollar. All this digital crap. Really, you got to stop and think. If your section of the country, or wherever you're in the world, has just something to do with the power for just a few hours, you're out of luck. You're out of luck. And what happens if that power goes out for a longer time? What happens if the government pushes that magic button, locks you out of your Bitcoin account, your main coin accounts, your bank accounts? Because you might have done something that they don't like, or said something, or post something that they don't like. It's happened in other countries, my friends. It can happen here too. Physical silver and gold in your possession, they can't touch. It's not digital. There's no this thing as digital gold, digital silver, nothing like that. It's electronic. Numbers on a computer screen. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, it's numbers. It can be there one day and gone the next. And we got coin shops, pawn shops around this great country melting down our 90% silver. We got to stop the melt. We got to stop the melt now. I got another challenge this week for you. How many of you can buy $1 worth of face this week? I'm trying to keep the numbers small, so it's all affordable to most people. I understand some people out there can't afford this every single week. I understand that. Buy what you can afford. Convert dollars into silver and gold as you can afford to. Don't go just buy me. I'm trying to make it cheap. I don't care if it's 50 cents this week. If that's all you can afford to go get 50 cents and 90% silver, do it somewhere. I don't care where you buy it, who you buy it from. Your local coin shop, your local pawn shop. Maybe you got a coin show coming up this week. If it's nearby, you get a few extra bucks. Well, that's probably not the right word, because nobody really has extra bucks, right? But you get the drift. If you're able to afford to do so, stack what you can. Stack what you can. You know, that's all I'm saying. I'm trying to do the same. I'm doing the same thing when I can find a deal. And I'm all about the deals. You know, if I was able to afford a couple 10-ounce Canadian Royal Mint bars from Pimbex this week, I'll be doing it. I just don't have it. And even Pimbex says, Michael, I talked to Michael this morning. He says, I understand it. He says, still people are starting to get a little bit priced out. He understands what's going on. You know, he gets it. Those were his words. I understand. We get it. But you can't give it this. You can't give this stuff away for $200 a bar. You just can't do it. You're not gonna make anything. You're gonna be losing money. Nobody would do that. We gotta think ahead. Just think about it this way. And I'm not predicting this is going to happen. People are worried about it now. We're almost at $40 silver. People are saying in the comments now, I wish I bought more when it was cheaper. Okay. Well, let me ask you this question. For those people who are saying that, I agree with you. I wish I say the same thing too. But really think about that question. Did you have the cash to do it then? Think about that. My answer is no. I'm not sure about you. Okay? That's none of my business. But think about that. I should have bought more when it was cheaper. These are the comments I'm getting. These are the comments I'm getting at the coin shop. I asked one woman today. She said that to me. And I said to her, I says, let me just ask you this. I said, you don't have to answer this. I said, you make that comment. I said, I'm going to fire this back at you. I says, were you able to afford more back then? She stopped and thought, and she says, you know what? Probably not. This is why we cost average. Don't sit on the sidelines. Because one day soon, and I'm not making a prediction this is going to happen, one day soon, we could be at 50 or 60 bucks. And maybe you do have the money to buy a little bit more now. Don't get caught right now. And this is not trying to say go buy more, go spend more than you need to. The best way to stack silver, gold, and platinum is cost averaging your stacks. Meaning, buy something today. Wait till next Monday then. Watch the price all week. If you see a little bit of a dip, you might want to get a little bit more. We're not going to see big dips, I don't believe. But I could be wrong. I'm not no expert. I want to make very cautious of that, trying to tell people that at all. I don't have a crystal ball. None of us do. Don't sit on the sidelines and wait and wait and wait. And a month and a half ago now, we're up to 45, 46, maybe even 50 bucks in silver. People will be scratching their heads. What the hell happened? What the heck happened? Well, what happened was you sat on the sidelines too long. I'm worried of that too. You know, I'm trying to nickel and dime everything. And some of the stuff that I'm losing on auctions, it's like 25 cents, 35 cents. Should I have been bidding a little bit higher? You know, I think about that too. 30, 40, 45, 50, 65 cents really going to break my bank? Well, not right off the bat, but you keep doing that, you're going to have less and less and less. I'm trying to cost average too. It's not easy. Not easy even for me, and I know the market a little bit more because of the job I have. Some of you guys know the market very well. Some people are just learning. Some people still need to ask questions. Look, if you don't know something, ask. It don't have to be me. It can be your local coin shop. It can be Michael O'Brien at Pimbex. Ask somebody, get different opinions. Don't just take one opinion, one approach to nothing right now. You should never, never take one person's opinion on anything. Get multiple. I stress that. You folks have any questions for me? Please email me. I'm happy to help you out. My email is always in the description of every single video. Don't forget, help me with the thumbs up. That really helps to get the videos out to more and more people. Thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow.